Hi, this is Paul. I also wanted to make a video about the whole Carmelo Anthony trial, conviction, and sentence. Uh, that you know what it reminded me of? Yeah, that was the case of the young boy. It was in Texas where the the young black. Well, yeah, I guess he was 17 at the time, so I guess I can say young. He went to a tent, I guess, during a sporting event when I think it was raining, and they went inside the tent, and there was two twin uh, kids, and they told them to leave. They tried, and apparently, supposedly they jumped him. Okay, I have to say supposedly and allegedly, because uh, even though he got convicted already, but I'm going to say that anyway for the sake of this video. And apparently he got jumped and stuff, and I guess they said he told the boys to back off, and then he pulled out a knife and stabbed the one of the twins, and that twin wound up dying. Okay, so he was tried, convicted, and sentenced. Okay, to me that all seemed to happen so quick. I know that I think the actual the stabbing thing happened like a year ago, whenever it was exactly. I'm not sure about the date that it happened, but he was tried, convicted, and I know they didn't have any blacks on the jury and stuff. And I know there was a lot of people, like a lot of people, questioned the parents and why they, because the lawyer that they was representing their son is friends with the DA, which is not unusual in a case in a space you get a small town. But why would you get some unless they thought or the lawyer talked them into this? I don't know why would you get a lawyer that's good friends with the DA, okay? And why would you allow them to have a case where there's no black juries on the case? Okay, there's plenty of black people in Texas, and how you get a jury? Okay, he's supposed to have a jury of his peers, and you have no black people on that jury. That makes to me that makes no sense whatsoever. Okay, but as far as the whole stabbing incident again, and I to me I blame this, and again this is just my opinion. I blame the parents for part of it because again I know a lot of black parents they talk to their kids about how you move in the world and to tell them how you're supposed to move in the world, especially when you're in white spaces and stuff, and how to how to you know how do you how do you move again how you move in white spaces, and you got to have a sense of knowing. Like I said, this whole stand your ground thing, okay, that to me that never made sense, and that was a thing to me, at least in my opinion, that that wasn't going to work out in black people's favors no matter what. None of the stand your ground law crap was going to work. That was just designed to me for white people to have another out in case they actually or murdered somebody and they wanted to get off. To me, that was just another excuse to have a legal reason why they could get off, possibly get off, or a jury could find them not guilty because of stand your ground law and stuff. And so why this kid didn't have the sense to know that, listen, these kids are trying to jump me. I'm going to get out of there. You live to fight another day. Okay. And I don't buy this fear your life thing. Okay. That's why he pulled out the knife, because he was in fear of his life. Okay. No, I know and he was invited into the tent. That's what, according to all the reports, he was invited into that tent, so he had the right to be there. And these kids were basically, according to most of the report, these kids were bullying him. But you took the action he took to me. Okay, and again, this is just my opinion, was not proportioned to the uh, action that was put upon him. So that's why I always think, you basically you murdered someone. Okay, and you can't take that back. Once he made that decision to pull that knife out and stab somebody, that's permanent, and you can't take that back. Okay, and I can understand. Like I said, it's more than two people, fighting him. Okay, you flee. You don't. To me, I know, and again, this is why I said I blame the parents, because they have to tell him. And I'm pretty. I can't be sure about this, but you would think that his parents would tell him, listen, this is how you move around white people, and when you're in white areas. Okay, you're not going to win a battle. Okay, again against white. And that's the reality that black people have to live with. Okay, when you're in certain spaces, especially white spaces, you're not going to win. You're not going to win the argument. You're not going to win the fight, and, you're definitely not going to win the lawsuit or beat the charge. I very rarely see it. And they were pointing to other cases. I think where another case where a white kid, I think he stabbed his classmate. I think he only got 10 years. He got Carmelo Anthony got 35 years. And again, this is Texas. Okay, and again, you got to know where you are, especially in Texas. I know Texas sometimes. they think Texas might flip or whatever, but Texas to me is still a deep red state, and you got to know how to move, okay? And that's why again I put the a lot of the blame on the parents. I mean, he had free will too, so I blame him for part of it too, Carmelo Anthony. But you got to know how to move when you're hanging around right in white areas and stuff, and how things are not going to work out good for you if you think, oh, well, okay, I'm just defending myself. And they said that, to me, this seemed like this trial was like, and he didn't testify too. I think that's another thing that probably hurt his case too, that he didn't testify, because but when people say when you testify, but look what happened. He didn't testify and he got convicted in less than 3 hours. Okay. And that's why I always think that especially if you got a good defense lawyer, if he put you on the stand and let you, act it out, I think you could probably convince people. Although, like I said, he had an all-white jury, no black people. That's why, again, they're going to appeal this case. And I think and I know there was also a thing that I don't know if this is true or not, but they were saying that there was a picture of the father with the judge and stuff. But then I heard that was debunked later and stuff. But I know that the lawyer that represented him was good friends. I even saw the picture. They showed it on the news with him with the prosecutor. Okay, and he got sentenced to 35 years. Like I said, his trial, to me, it seemed like it had the jury selection, trial, conviction, sentence, done. To me, that was it reminded me kind of the OJ trial when they not when they stole his stuff and they set him up and they stole his stuff, and then he supposedly pulled a gun on them and they convicted him and sentenced him right away. That trial was over so fast. This reminds me of that kind of, in a way, that it happened so everything fast. The trial happened, conviction, closing arguments, conviction, and sentencing, and he shipped off. Okay, and I know a lot of people. Some people are blaming the parents too for hiring that lawyer. Okay, and they think a lot of people, at least a lot of his parents, are just trying to do this for money. But I don't know what their heart is, so I can't say that. And that's their son, so I can't say that. But what I do blame them for is not instilling in their son, okay, that you have to not act a certain way, but you got to know how to move within white spaces, and that you're never going to win the argument. Okay, and I was telling my friend this too at work. You're never going to win the argument. Okay, they're never going to, especially when you have an incident against another white person. They're never going to, especially, and you got an all-white jury. They're never going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Okay, and none of that stand your ground stuff is not going to work in your favor. Okay, and I think, again, I would hope that the parents would have taught him, how to move and stuff, and tell him, listen, you're not going to win no argument, and you're not gonna kill, shoot a white person or stab a white person and get away with it unless it's in self-defense and they got witnesses there and got it on videotape. They're not taking your word for it. It's just not going to happen. And that's why I kind of blame them for not instilling this on them, because the minute he pulled out that knife, his life was over. Okay, once he did that in that white space, he was never going to win this trial. Okay, I know people kept saying, "Oh, it's self-defense. It's self-defense." He's gonna. No, it was never going to happen. Not in Texas. Okay, and not to a place where you see where they basically stacked the deck against him. Got an all-white jury. That they were out less than 3 hours and convicted him, and he got sentenced, and it's over with basically. And now they're appealing, and we'll see what happens with the appeal. But to me, the parents definitely should have got a different lawyer. I don't know why they got the lawyer that was friends with the DA. Okay, because I wouldn't trust that at all. Okay, you got to get, especially, I know they raised money for his defense, and I think they should have used that money to get the very best lawyer that you can. And I didn't see Benjamin Crop down there for this one, which I'm surprised. This is a case with a potential young black victim. Where's Benjamin Crop at? I don't know where he's usually hanging around, and I didn't see him nowhere around this case, unless somebody told him something and he stayed away on purpose or something. But I didn't see him anywhere around this case, so which kind of makes me wonder what he was thinking or why he stayed away. Okay, and again, like I said, 35 years. That's a lot of, that's most people for intentional murder. Okay, don't get that many years, but he got 35. And again, this is Texas. And again, he got to know where he is. And the minute he made that fateful decision to get that knife, again, like I said, he should have. I don't know what he was thinking, that he was going to get away with it and he could just claim the self-defense. But no, he ran away. They say he threw away the knife. And come on, you know you're going to get convicted and you killed someone. Okay, you're not going to get away with it. Not in Texas. Okay, that just, and no blacks on the jury and all that stuff. That was never going to happen. And again, maybe with a better lawyer on appeal, maybe he can get his sentence reduced. But I don't see him winning this case. I don't. Maybe they'll retry it. Maybe some technical aspects of this. He may be able to win on appeal, but I don't think there's no way I think he may be able to get the sentence reduced. Maybe I think that's the best outcome he could probably possibly hope for. But he's not getting out of jail. I don't see that happen. No way, no how. Him getting out of jail. Okay, maybe they can reduce the sentence to maybe 25 years or something like that, or maybe 20 years, something like that. Maybe with the proper lawyer and the proper defense, and maybe if he testifies. Okay, I think that did hurt his case that he didn't testify. I definitely think that, but then again, like I said, they stacked the deck against him too. So I don't think there's no way in the world he's going to win anyway. He was not walking out of that courtroom. Okay, again, this is my opinion about this. Anyway, let me know what you think of this whole Karmelo Anthony thing. Feel free to leave comments down below. In the description box are links to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram. Also a link to my main channel, Trepacer, in the description box as well. Also a link down below to my merchandise store. As you can see, I'm wearing my Trepacer logo shirt. This logo has the spherical circles. Those are the two designs I have on my merchandise. I have it on t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, hoodies, water bottles, teddy bears for men, women, unisex. Follow the link. It'll take you to my merchandise store. Also, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps the channel, and I truly appreciate it. Also, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, so you know when I upload new content to this channel. And this is Paul saying so long. Take care. Okay, I also wanted to include one other thing I forgot in my original video, and I want to add it. I kind of tried to upload it, then I remembered it cut off part of the audio, and so I was going to record this part again because I actually forgot to mention this in my original video tape, because the father went on some person's blog and went into a racist rant. I think called him the watermelon felon and stuff. So, okay, my sympathy for you goes down to zero, and now it seems appropriate why your kids were bullies, because you're a racist piece of crap, okay? And call him a watermelon felon, and people will say, oh, well, he's grieving. You got to give him grace. No, I'm not giving him grace, okay? He has every right to be mad at Karmelo Anthony for murdering his son. But the very fact that you went to racist tropes and stuff right away, this shows, again, exactly probably how your kids were raised, okay? And again, this is my channel, so this is my opinion, okay? You call him a watermelon felon, okay? Really? Okay? And going on a rant about black people and stuff. Enough, okay? Enough. I'm so sick. White people trying to lecture black people on how to act and how to behave and stuff. Enough, okay? You take care of your own space, okay? And exactly, and maybe if you'd have raised your son the right way, exactly, things like this wouldn't have happened. And just enough. I'm just beyond sick again. And again, like I said, he needs to, Karmelo Anthony needs to, again, his parents need to get another lawyer. Yeah, I know they're going to appeal it, but get another lawyer, okay, one with experience and one that's not related, that's not best friends with the DA, okay? And it seemed to me it was just too many odd coincidences with people down there everybody knowing each other, and your son getting tried, convicted, no blacks on the jury, and done, sentenced in convicted in less than 3 hours and sentenced. They had a to-do list and they checked every box and off they went. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there about the father who is again zero sympathy for him. Okay, since he decided to go on his little racist rant. Okay, so screw him. Okay, anyway, that's it for me.